Hello, Galaxy. I'm Chris Pirillo. You've tuned into another live edition of the Locker Room Daily Report, or TLDR for short. I am back in my play shop with no music because I just like mixing it up, quite honestly. There were a few people who were telling me in comments, A, that they did not like my choice of music. I don't know what to say about that. And then B, there were other people saying, I miss your old play shop. There you go. This is not a backdrop. No green screen. This is like for real. Watch me like break the monitor by doing that. So thank you for joining. I first must explain to you that I have been motion sick since this afternoon. I had the wrong settings when I was playing Hot Lava on Twitch for Intel, and basically couldn't do it for longer than an hour. I hope that it would have gone away by the time that I removed myself from the computer, did other things. It didn't, and I still kind of had this queasy feeling, and then I started getting kind of dizzy. So either way, I sillily, can I say that? I in a very silly fashion. Let me turn on Do Not Disturb. In a very silly fashion, I drove, which I probably shouldn't have done, because I was fine. It's just, kind of like when I couldn't move too fast, otherwise I got a little dizzy. I was fine. Went to the store, picked up effectively some Dramamine, and I was like, well, the dosage is 2. It says 2. I took the Dramamine an hour, 2 hours ago. It is literally just starting to kick in, so I'm feeling a little sluggish, a little logy. Not loogie. I'm not feeling loogie. I'm feeling logy. Look it up. It's a word. I'm still aware enough to pull those words out, and hopefully you're cognizant that I love a good word, being a bibliophile. So anyway, I thought for today's topic, since I've now had the Pixel XL for Pixel 4 XL. Oh man, this is gonna be a good video. I'm so glad I'm doing this live with y'all. I can barely keep my eyes open right now. So if I pause in the middle of this video, I pause the live video, not pausing the live video, just to lay my head down without getting up for 10 minutes. It could be that it knocked me out. Oh, won't that be fun, should it happen. So I can't show you some of the things I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you some sample images that I had taken. I don't think I've really shared too much in social in that sense, but just before this medication over-the-counter thing kicked in, I was posting pictures to Discord. So feel free to join the Discord server. The link is pretty much at the top of the video description. Several chat rooms. It's in the Google Chatter room. If you go over there, or I should say I took a variety of shots, including a couple of relatively tricky shots. A night shot, or using night sight for the new glow-in-the-dark Halloween droid here. And it's a wonderful droid, with the lights on, certainly. But the lights off, I wanted to see just how much detail I could pull out. Earlier this morning, I took pictures in a very low lit area in the Intel studio without all the lights on. And the Sith Trooper looked pretty good with very low light, just using the regular camera settings as well as night sight, and then even zooming in using the 8x zoom. It was obviously not pixel perfect, but it was amazing. The level of detail, you could see the marks, the lines on the Sith Trooper's armor. So that was rather astounding. So I posted those earlier, and then before I started this video, I gotta tell you this because I can't show you because there were people who said, what happened to the play shop? So I can't do it both ways, people. I can't make everybody happy. Some people like the music, some people don't. Some people like me with the green screen, some people don't. So, here's what you get when you have me in the play shop. I can't show you the photos directly, but you can pop over to Discord, just freshly uploaded, and rather astounding, including a couple of shots that I just took outside with Diana and Jedi. Jedi wanted to be Rey for this Halloween. Diana's kind of wearing a stormtrooper dress. You can check those out. And then I wanted to try a shot of this particular array of Vaders. this is kind of like my test shot when I'm testing a camera, believe it or not, because no matter what I've tried in the past, I can never get it faithfully reproduced. It's usually blown out, and including with the Pixel, it was not blown out in color, but like the light is like it's a dark corner. It really is. So I wanted an image to be faithful to the objects there, but also representative of the amount of light that might be seen by the eye. This is a thing that I cannot understate enough. And I've got my list. I will be posting this list also to Discord, so you can follow along after this video's live. But one of the things that people have talked about, in relation to the Pixel 4, or pretty much any camera or any phone, is the camera. But one thing that isn't really punched hard enough is specifically the sliders. So you don't just take an image, right? With you can just take an image, but if you tap and you can guide the amount of brightness, so the amount of highlights and shadows are adjusted independently, and so having that feature alone is outstanding. That's something that, again, cannot be overstated enough. It's not just a camera. It doesn't just produce really spectacular photos, certainly when compared against its contemporaries. Very versatile in that sense, but even more versatile because of the sliders. So that's a big deal. It's a really, really, really big deal. If you take pictures with your camera, not having those sliders in the default app is, well, once you have it, you won't be able to live without it. And that is the hallmark of a fantastic feature, a feature that I haven't heard a lot of these reviewers really cover. They say, oh, the camera and the photos look like this and this. And let's talk about the sliders. I mean, I would love to have had those sliders on any device, out of the gate as a part of the default, as a part of this default experience that I've had on the Pixel 4. I'm not sure if that feature is going to be trickling down to other Pixels, but I'd certainly like to see that feature, in a wide array of camera applications on any platform, because it finally, and you'll see in the Discord server, the picture that I'm talking about, I was kind of blown away by that quality, and that's going to kind of lead me into this one day, this 24 hours I've had with the Pixel 4 XL. As a matter of fact, I was like, well, how am I going to take a picture of it? Oh, I'll stand in front of the mirror, and I did. That's the thumbnail for this particular video. And the funny thing is, after last night's live stream, Jedi basically, she came up to me because I was holding the phone. She said, "What happened to your phone?" And she was pointing at it, and I'm like, "What do you mean? What happened to my phone?" She recognized this huge square on the back, and she's like, "What?" She didn't know what it was. Never saw anything like it before. I mean, let's face it, hardly any of us have. So that was just something that I thought was kind of cute. I ended up doing a tweet storm of sorts last night, really complaining out loud, hoping that any kind of problems would have been fixed. I misworded at least one thing, because I've had people, even though I described this last night and will probably do so till the end of time. As I run through my list of the things that I've appreciated or liked, I'm going to start with, and now after having talked about the camera, refresh rate. The lock-in at 90 hertz is an absolute must. Google came out today and basically said, yeah, we're working on controls. We're giving you more, finer control, because there have been some discrepancies discovered depending on the brightness of the screen. But locking the phone down to 90 hertz in developer options or developer settings, in my estimation, is an absolute must. You've got to do it. And I know there are people out there, battery life. I'm different in the sense that I'm not always tethered, but for the most part, I can get to a power supply on the average day, and it's battery life. I don't have that battery anxiety. I just don't. It's never really been a driving factor for me, and I know a lot of people that has been a driving factor. That's fine, but I can't really talk to battery life all that much because it keeps unlocking so fast. I don't want it to unlock. I have to set it so that it just stays on the lock screen. That's okay. Now that I said that the refresh rate lock-in 90 hertz in the developer options is a must, Google's going to be addressing it. If you haven't already done that, they're going to modify the settings so that you can stay in auto, because if you're watching a 30 frame per second video, let's face it, your screen doesn't need to be 90 hertz. But I'm going to stick with it always on. I want that confidence. So with the refresh rate, I talked about the camera and the HDR options. The higher zoom quality is also nice. I referenced the zoom in on the Sith Trooper figure this morning. It was spectacular. For a low light situation and using an 8x zoom, whatever Google's doing is only going to get better, and that was really kind of exciting to see, because I'm someone who, as much as I realize everyone slags devices for not having the thing that their device of choice has. Right now, the feature du jour is a wide-angle lens. But let me tell you, kind of a workaround for the not having a wide-angle lens on the Pixel. Well, first of all, that's not exactly accurate in the sense that you can turn on the selfie cam and that's wide angle, and that's also something that I appreciate. Just one lens on the selfie cam, and I know we lost a bit of the outer edges of the wide angle lens from the Pixel 3 or the Pixel 3 XL. But having one lens means I don't have to remember to pinch to zoom out, or I don't have to wait for an app to update so that I can use that secondary wide-angle camera. Just having one wide-angle camera, I think, has been a boon. So there, you have wide-angle on the selfie camera. If you really, really, really want wide-angle on your Pixel, you can get it. Just get a Moment lens. They've been around for, gosh, how long? Do I have mine right here? Close by? I'm not sure. I may have moved them down. But you can get, it's a company out of Seattle. They make these lens attachments and phone cases, and you can get a case, get a lens, and you've got wide angle. In fact, I mentioned this last night, but Moment actually has a camera app on the iOS App Store as well as the Android or the Google Play that even if you don't have the Moment lenses, may make a very good pro camera app for you. So a shout out to Moment. They solved the problem, if you perceive it that way, of the Pixel 4 and the Pixel 4 XL. So I've appreciated refresh rate lock-in, the camera HDR options, of course the general output of the camera in terms of photos. Higher zoom quality has also been a boom. It has been, in the 24 hours, definitely snappier than earlier Pixels. And I like that. I mean, it's snappy, and I just like that it's straight up as clean of an experience as you can get. This is where I have to make mention of OnePlus, because of course they also have a nice experience. You can't lock in 90 hertz, unfortunately, and the OnePlus that I have doesn't even have Android 10 yet. This is the OnePlus 7 Pro, I think. The one that Ask Des on Twitter, offered me, maybe not to review, or not necessarily to review. He just said, hey, hey, would you like to try it? I'm like, yeah, I would. So it's nice. Don't get me wrong, but the problem I have with the OnePlus is that the camera is. Sorry, the camera I'm sure is fine. The photo output is not. It's not for me. So let's go ahead and put those arguments to rest. I'll try it again at some point in the future when I know that their camera output has absolutely improved. Until then, the Snappys Android experience I've had to date is specifically on the Pixel 4 XL, and for that reason alone, I would intend on just holding on to it as well now my go-to device on the average day. So because snappiness means everything. Being someone who's inclined to be more appreciative of the software angle than the hardware angle. Anybody who has an issue with the snappiness of this, man, they've got super high standards. My standards as far as software is concerned and performance are incredibly high, and you know that. I've noticed some issues at times when it seems the system's being taxed. The way that Android handles processes is a bit different than, say, like iOS, but it's been few and far between and very, very brief. I actually have to speed up animations because they're too slow for me. So I go into the developer options and tweak, I think, the window scaling option to a 0.5x, and it works just fine. It's just like, so that's a different kind of animation than what comes by default, but certainly easily tweakable in the developer options. So having a snappy Android experience, for me, it's wonderful. It's absolutely beautiful, and I can notice the difference when I go back and forth between the 3XL and the 4XL. And I'm trying to stay away from the 3XL, and the reason why is because of the face unlock being on this and the fingerprint sensor on the other one. And I'm trying to, bring myself to not use the fingerprint sensor because I'm trying to retrain my brain. Face unlock has been fast, and in combination with Project Soli, the radar, it's even faster seemingly. I don't have an issue that at this stage with sleeping around people who I don't trust. You might sleep with strangers. If you sleep with strangers, I don't recommend getting a Pixel 4 right now with face unlock, because that person you don't trust that you're sleeping with might pick up your phone while you're sleeping and put it in front of your face and unlock it. So I guess the bottom line is, folks, don't sleep with people you don't trust. Is that fair? I mean, maybe you do. I'm not judging, man. If that's your thing, okay, that's your thing. And by the way, if you're getting a weird light cast here, it's because the screen that I have, I've got it kind of turned up in terms of brightness, and it's blue light is being diminished because it's at the end of the day. I know I could turn it off, but I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to be orange in this video. Just pretend I'm an Oompa Loompa. Google, as I mentioned, is addressing the issue that some people have run into in terms of the refresh rate, lowering itself down beneath a certain brightness percentage, making it more consistent in the future, and they say within a month or so. Okay, that's great. That's fine. What I want to point out as a huge, positive factor for the Pixel is that Google is responding, and they're responding in a very public way. They didn't stay ahead of some of the snags that they had, and they let the news cycle get out of hand, and have been, I think, suffering the consequences for not really addressing issues as brought out by the community and reblogged and posted on news outlets over and over again. But the fact that Google is being transparent and responding to some of these things that we know a quote-unquote fix might be in the pipeline for anything is amazing. The fact that Google's doing that is great. I like that. I like Google's transparency in relation to issues that the community might perceive, and at least they're coming forward and saying, okay, here's what we're going to do to effectively fix this. And I'm being general because I think it's certainly happened with at least one of the features, if not more than one of the features. And don't worry, I'm seeing your comments. I will scroll back. This is another issue with not having the setup that I have completely downstairs for the live streams. I'm also happy that, again, I know I'm running contrary to every person you've listened to. I'm happy Google did not include headphones. Serious. I'm very glad. Thank you, Google, for not giving me headphones. I didn't need them. I wouldn't have used them. I've got plenty of backups. I can't remember the last time I ever used earbuds, earpod, whatever, that came with any device. I never have. Ever. So thank you, Google. I'm good to go. Yeah, that's great that I didn't have to do that. So this is I don't want to jump to complaints yet, but just by saying the word Google, for some reason I got to retrain this assistant because I can't say the word Google now without Google effectively triggering assistant on the phone. Like it did just a few minutes ago. I didn't say anything close to Hey Google, to my knowledge. But see, even saying Hey Google, okay, now it opened. A second ago when I said it, it didn't. So there's some flakiness in Assistant. That's a small complaint. Just a small issue. I didn't want to jump to my my list of shortcomings yet because I'm trying to go with more of the positive stuff up front. It's been a very ample experience overall with Pixel-esque familiarity. So if you like the Pixel 2 XL and the 3 XL, for the most part, the Pixel 4 XL should not disappoint if you want a Pixel experience. That said, I'm not saying, oh, everyone needs to rush out and get it. It's an iPhone killer. I mean, that's hyperbole, and I'm not going to go that direction, and it's kind of incorrect. But if you like the Pixel and like what the Pixel has to offer and what Google's trying to do with the Pixel, then yeah, no, it's the familiarity of it. It is rather nice. When I plugged it in the car, I use Android Auto. It seemed a bit faster, and that may have been like a placebo effect. But I usually use these things day in and day out, and I notice speedier routines. So it's not just a faster processor, right? It's the routines are actually faster. They're not impeded by other code clutter, right, or cruft, like opening up a message, opening up a dialogue. Like there are things that I'm able to jump into without having to wait a second for the system to catch up. So it's snappier. And I want to say that the same thing felt. I mean, Android Auto is kind of not exactly the most responsive experience on a capacitive screen in a car, so that didn't necessarily change, but it seems that things were loading a bit quicker. I could be wrong. I didn't do any absolute benchmarks. The speakers are definitely louder, a bit more rich as well compared to the 3XL, which I don't listen to music on my phone. I really don't all that often. If I do, I'm in my car, and if I'm in my car, I'm basically charging. I'm plugged in to the Android Auto experience. But the speakers themselves, in a pinch, yeah. So if I'm needing to watch a video, okay, I can do that. And they've balanced it such that even if sitting down on the desk flat, even though you got one speaker shooting out audio from the bottom, the other one shooting out from the top, it sounds balanced. So whatever they've modified in terms of making it sound like stereo sitting straight in front of you flat on the desk, they've done a great job with the balancing there. So, you know, I'm not sure how many other things I can say that I observed that I haven't necessarily just tweeted about already. But, you know, I can tell you that despite this small array of shortcomings that I'm going to explain, and I may bring up more as I look at your questions, you know, asking me about my experience. Sure, I'd be happy to answer the questions in this particular video. And, of course, on Discord. Despite any shortcomings I'm about to list, I'm fairly confident I want to stick with the 4XL over the 3XL. And the 4XL does not have me wanting another phone. That's how you know there's trouble in paradise, right? I mean, iPhone with iOS 7 through 13 had me wanting another phone. It's not the case with the Android experience, despite some shortcomings on the Pixel 4 XL. Some things that they may very well address. So, some negatives, things that I'm just like, and these were many of them almost immediately discovered. One, I felt the need to revert to a triple button nav almost immediately. Like, they've got the gesture nav, but the gesture nav is not fully baked, and it works. I mean, yes, it's snappy in terms of operation. It now supports third-party launchers, but it's glitchy. And with third-party launchers especially. So if you use a third-party launcher, the gesture might work, but, I mean, it theoretically will work, but it's janky. Like, the elements flash when you go into the task switching menu as you're scrolling through apps. If the app has not been optimized for the gesture and the new gesture nav, that pill at the bottom, the long little spaghetti thing with a background, it's not floating above the text. It's not, as I've called it in the past, a turd bar. Like, it's there and it's got a background to it. But that's a trade-off, because what I've, in going to the triple nav button, a lot of other apps are compatible, things are just as snappy, but I've seen a cleaner execution of design elements as they're laid out or placed on the screen, for the most part. But that's where I want to talk about probably one of my bigger issues. I want to lead in. So a lot of people slag Google because the inner corner radius on the Pixel 3 XL was different from the corner radius of the actual hardware. But it was a great software experience on the Pixel 3 XL with a notch turned off in developer options. Pixel 4, however, now matches the corner radius on the screen with the actual phone hardware, and it's created some catastrophic software experiences. And when I say catastrophic, I mean like some elements, as I illustrated briefly last night, are literally slapped up against the border. And we're not talking with the full black night mode that would mitigate it, like a lights out mode, like pure black. No, but if a dialog pops up and the corners are, and it's popped up over the corners that it's not expecting that corner radius, it gets cut off. The graphic gets cut off. That part that maybe a notification gets cut off, or like a dialogue at the bottom, it kind of gets cut off, and it's very awkward, and it's even worse at the bottom with the gesture controls versus the classic 3-button layout, because a lot of developers haven't necessarily optimized for anything apart from that pixel space at the bottom of the screen. So they've got some APIs to change or implementation to change, or you got to wait for your developers to kind of catch up. Either way, because they went with the rounded corners the way they did, the word I would use is chonky. Like they're just they cut in too much into the software experience that isn't accommodated for out of the box. So when elements pop up, they just look cut off. That's sloppy. That's incredibly sloppy. And Google, you're trying to show that this is a software phone. Get your software right. And yeah, you can issue bug patches, etc., but usually those patches come in tow with fixing bugs. This isn't necessarily a bug. It's a bugaboo. It's a big UI nightmare, but it's something that I'm not sure Google's going to address. I think Google made a massive mistake. In my humble opinion, everything's my opinion, Google made a massive mistake by listening to the hardware folks who are like saying, "Whoa, the corner radius doesn't match the outside of the phone." Guys, you've basically introduced software shortcomings, design shortcomings that you didn't have to. You didn't have to do it, and you shouldn't have. Not without further optimizing the software so that it just doesn't look so sloppy. Anyway, so that's probably my biggest why. Is it enough to drive me away? No, because it's not always in my face, and I've mitigated it at the bottom by using the 3-button nav. For the most part, mitigated in dark mode. When it's in light mode, it's even worse. Theoretically, app developers will update, to better accommodate the rounded corners, the radius on the Pixel 4 XL, but that's anybody's guess. It's just a massive oversight on Google's part. I wish I had more face training. This is something that's not exactly a huge negative, but like I wish I could train my face twice, and I might have to retrain it. Not that I've had tremendous issues, but if you're looking down the wrong way, you have to look up and the way I had apparently trained it in order for it to unlock, and that can be kind of annoying. I'm like, well, I'm looking at it. What do you want? What I have to move my head, move my phone. So I wish I could add one more face, so I can do one with glasses and one without. Right now, that's not the case. A few go-to apps still need to be updated. When? I don't know. As I mentioned last night, not having a fingerprint reader, apparently the way that Android in its set of APIs worked up until a couple of revisions ago, it only recognized fingerprint scanners rather than a generic biometric authentication factor. And so there are only 5 apps currently that support it. 5. And how many apps need something like that? Like, how many thousands? Like, it's just so... A few go-to apps need to be updated in that sense. Android still has a lot of software quirks that are unfixed. I mentioned that the Google Play Store is a jank fest. Still very, very bad. If you want an example of a very bad app on Android from Google, take a look at the app that's used to push new apps your direction, the Google Play Store. It's bad. This doesn't fix it. Faster hardware doesn't fix it. More RAM doesn't fix it. It's just code that needs to be better optimized. And despite a new design, it ain't getting... That particular app's not getting better. So there's still some Android software quirks that are there. That's less an issue with the Pixel 4 XL, but given that the 4 XL is the flagship for Google and Android's its operating system, I would have expected a few more software quirks in Android to be addressed, on the Pixel 4 or certainly beyond. I do fear, and I did mention this, I think, a few minutes ago. Google still hasn't gotten its own story straight, like the value prop. Like, I think they burned through so many cycles that the launch of the Pixel 4 will be dampened for a lot of different reasons. One, I don't think reviewers are necessarily concentrating on Pixel's strengths. It's important to talk about weaknesses too, but don't make the lack of something a weakness if that wasn't Google's intention for a successful device. Judge it upon its merits, and I'm talking about in an overarching sense. Like, you gotta decide for yourself if you want it. I ain't here to convince you to get it at all. That's not my job. It's not what I want. But let me just say this. Enough! Okay? Especially if I say something in a video, very clearly stated, incredibly clearly, in underscore, in triplicate, to the point where people say that I'm a broken record. I don't care what device you use. Okay? You can tell me that the device X is faster and better. Okay. This does what? Nothing. Hey, you want to post your own video on your own channel? Knock yourself out. But don't drag me into it. I'm not gonna do it. There's one guy in the comments from yesterday. He just wouldn't let go. I'm like, dude, move on. Like I have, or I'm trying to. So this is not me projecting my insecurities onto you. It's typically the other way around. I'm not saying you, if you are watching, but if you're the type of person to scream from the rooftops your choices if you scream your choices at everybody and tell me, oh, you made a horrible choice, Chris. Well, it's my choice. I gotta live with this, and I'm fine with living. This is where I get really agitated. It's people project themselves onto me. Knock it off, okay? Like, if you are an adult or you're on your way to adulthood, knock it off. Like, be comfortable in your own choices, okay? Okay, you think other photos are better. Cool. I'm not taking the photos that you're taking. I'm not going to keep the photos that you're taking. I literally do not care. So don't drag me into it. It's a major, it's an agitation because, right now I'm very well served by the Pixel. Very well served. And B, I don't see a viable alternative for my particular needs and my particular use case and my experiences with the Pixel 2 XL and the Pixel 3 XL. It's at this stage good. It's solid. It hasn't even officially launched yet. I think, what is that? Tomorrow it officially launches? So Google, much like Apple, by the way, this is working. I'm getting really loud, and I'm hopped up on Dramamine. Or wait, drugged down on Dramamine. Dramamine kind of makes you slow. My eye, I can barely keep them open right now, guys. Still, it's not going to stop me from talking. It's what I do. Oh God, I lost my train of thought. Dramamine. I'm just going to close my eyes for a bit. Do you guys mind? Oh, this feels so good. This feels so good. So iOS 13, I'm going to throw this in there because I'm pretty sure people are asking if they haven't already. Oh, hey, thank you for the super chat there, Alec. Andy Lindsay, thank you. Jedi Fun, thanks for all the content. That's awesome. I just tweeted you. Thank you for the credit, or will. And if you join the Discord server, Andy, you get a special role and special privileges in the Discord server, so be sure to do that. Thank you. Wait. I think the Discord server is just for members, not super chatters. Either way, thank you. I appreciate it. It is a Jedi fund. It'll pay for a hot chocolate or two. And she loves hot chocolate. She loves her candy. Anyway, iOS 13.2 is still in beta. It will likely be finalized at the end of the month. 13.2 betas on iOS feel like iOS 13.0 should have been. So you have to wait how long for them to push out that update? And they've got some good stuff coming with 13.2, no doubt about it. Like I said, though, I'm good. Deep Fusion is not going to win me over. Like, it's the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. A camera is only a part of the experience, and there are other viable options in the market. So it's not just the iPhone. The iPhone is not the only device that takes good pictures. So I would say the same thing with the Pixel. Don't rush out to get it. If you don't want it, certainly, and you don't need it. If you can wait for a couple of revisions, wait until like after the first year, just before it, right? We'll have 2 or 3 patches with things that were addressed, if they saw them as needing to be addressed, or apps updated on a continual basis that are abstracted from the operating system, unlike the way that Apple does it. So if it's okay for Apple to get away with a 13.2, weeks and months after its phone's initial release, I think it's okay for Google and Android to do the same. So anyway, that for the most part, it's been good. I'm largely satisfied. Just a couple of, like I said, smaller annoyances that I may mitigate sooner rather than later, or attempt to mitigate. But yeah, I could go on with this as it is, and be fine. It'll get better over time, as has always been the case with the Pixels. So keep in mind, even though the Pixels had dramatic hardware failures over the years, and like the Pixel 2 XL was slagged because of the screen. Was it a great screen? No. Did I have a problem with it? No, because the software experience was good. So I was fine. I was good. I was okay. The Pixel 3 XL, what was its problem? It had a problem too that people didn't like. They just find something that they don't like and then they just chase it. The Pixel 4 is probably going to be battery life, but I guess I'm just not having an issue. I like plugging in, I guess. So let me go ahead and scroll back up to see if I can catch any comments now that I've outlined the things that I liked, things that I didn't like, letting you know that I'm planning on keeping it indefinitely. I'm going to make sure that everything's moved over and migrated perfectly, and I think for the most part it has been from the 2XL. Scrolling up, 2XL to 4XL must be a nice screen update too, says Dennis Camacho, one of the members. Yes, that was definitely an upgrade, but even between the 2 and the 3 was pretty great. Audio is weird. See, someone says that. Where's the background music? Victor. See what I'm saying? I can't win. I can't have background music. I can't not have background music. I cannot win. I can't win. You should stay in the play shop, much better for TLDR. We'll see. But I can't see the screen in the same way, and I can't show you things. I guess that just gets you to go to Discord. I noticed you clean shaved your face. Well, thank you, Angel. Squeeze it? Oh yeah, I squeeze my phone all the time, Skookum Trooper. Absolutely. Watching on my Pixel 3, but tempted to get a larger screen this time. Pixel 4 XL is tempting, but my wait to see if a Pixel A4 XL will be released this spring. If you can wait, G-Boy, wait. Wait. Because if you like the Pixel 3, but you want a bigger screen, and you want to save money, you can wait. I believe they will have a Pixel 4a. My hope is, a year from now, they will announce the Pixel 5, 5XL, and then 5a, 5XLA, 5a XL. I'm hoping they update both the high range and the mid range at the same time, just to bring expectations together, you know, for the users. Did I install Action Launcher? Yes, and I've been in contact with Chris, the developer, letting him know of a few bugs. He knew of a few as well, and I expect that he's going to be pushing an update down the pike sooner rather than later. Hasn't seen a lot of updates. I haven't seen a lot of updates for Action Launcher as regularly since he launched the new digital well-being alternative. How do I feel about Google not offering unlimited original photo storage on the new Pixel 4? I don't feel anything. To me, I guess I used it, but I didn't think about it. It's not an issue. As long as the picture to me is sharp and clean and it's everything I might want it to be. Oh, I see. So it was unlocked, but it says swipe up to open. Got it. Weird. Like I said, I just posted a couple of photos that I took outside with Diana and Jedi, and I was impressed. This is at dusk, and I took regular shots, and I took shots with night sight, and you can definitely see that the regular shots were a bit more blue, and which isn't bad, and the night sight shots were a bit warm. So if you want the warmth of an iPhone photo without getting the iPhone, just take a photo in night shot. And outside or inside, and you'll probably get warmer tones. So there you go. Chris asks Alexandre, would you say that you were more impressed by the 90 hertz on the Pixel 4 XL than 120 hertz on the iPad Pro when you saw them the first time? To me, anything beyond 90 is a law of diminishing returns. Feels about the same. 90 feels the same as 120. To my eyes. And I know there's a difference, obviously, 30. But the difference between 60 and 90 is more dramatic. The difference between 30 and 60 is more dramatic. Beyond 90, I'm not sure if my eyes can see it as much. There's a workaround for the face unlock issue. Turn on lockdown in settings. Yeah, Michael, actually, I did want to mention that. Thank you. I do have lockdown turn on. Probably something you want to do anyway, where you, when you tap to hold, you get the option to lockdown that basically makes it so that you can't use biometric authentication. So if you sleep with people that you don't trust, again, if that's your thing, I wouldn't recommend doing that, but you can set it in lockdown if you are concerned. If you're concerned. I'm probably not going to go that far because I trust my wife. I would hope that you would trust yours, or your girlfriend, or boyfriend, or whoever. Do I use the always on display? Yeah, I think so, because I've got the time and everything right there. The problem is I want to tap to see, the I can swipe down and get the notifications, but when I tap, I'm just used to, I guess, a different experience in terms of interacting with this phone compared to the 3XL. One of the things that I did have to mention too, I turned off the radar feature of this, the swiping to gesture back and forth on music, because I don't use it all that much. And it just got in the way, and I kept waving my hand, and it kept illuminating like it did when I was watching a YouTube video. I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, oh, I'm Italian. That's what's going on. What? Why is it? It's like clicking on me. It's like I can feel the motor go. Like, I'm not even doing anything. So, John says he watched Jedi's reaction to the new Star Wars trailer. What do I think Jedi was thinking? Oh, she can't wait for the food. The popcorn. She's asking about the popcorn. I'm thinking of switching later until the update is done. Airwolf, I think that's fine. What's my home screen light? Moe, it's not really off topic. It's clean. So right now I've got some notifications here, including a notification saying that I was live. I'm just going to swipe to get rid of that. I keep my notifications very clean. I've got the Google widget here where I can see the weather at a glance as well as the date, and then I use Action Launcher. I have recently used apps as well as app folders. Very, very nice. See, why was it not catching that swipe? I've had some issues with Action Launcher, but I'd imagine are going to be addressed. I don't think Chris is getting a Pixel. I almost want to get him a Pixel, if only to optimize for it, but... Oh, Michael says, I switched to 3-button nav, then back to Apex Launcher. See what I'm saying? The gesture nav is not ready, A, for third-party launchers, and B, period. I wouldn't use the gesture launcher if I was using the Pixel launcher. I'm sorry, I wouldn't use the gesture nav if I was using the Pixel launcher. Things are just too... it's not ready. Other apps aren't ready. Like, it's awkward. Like, the design of a lot of stuff. And the reason why, I'd rather have a clean bar at the top of the nav bar rather than going down a little further and having that area impeded by the corner radius, because you get the slight sloping in, and so the graphic or the image that pops up just looks incongruent and it just looks sloppy. Yeah, like I said, I think Google made a pretty big mistake with that. On that topic, at first I didn't have a problem with the forehead, but when the phone is on and you see the rounded corners on the top, come on, bro. I know, Dennis, but at least I'm not living with a notch. Did that hit too close to home? Come on, you knew I had to do it. I mean, if I had a choice between dealing with that, either temporarily, or B, in fleeting moments, temporarily, in the sense that Google may address it with, way that these elements could be better accommodated with not just the gesture nav area and the corner radius, but also the top. I've had some notifications pop up that look clipped. If it's in light mode and dark mode, they're not as apparent. But dude, I'd rather have that than a notch. Just gonna say that. Same thing happened with your face trainer. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. I don't know. I like I said, it's an optimization point of the software that I'm not sure Google's paying attention to. Could I live with 3-button nav? Yeah. I'm glad the option's there. Do I miss the 2-button nav? A little bit. But honestly, the 3-button nav seems very snappy. Like, I'm okay with the legacy. I'm quite alright. I'm not having any kind of issue. What about video? I haven't had a chance to test video. If it's only been a day, I'll have to give something a shot. Although I may wait until the next camera update, which I think is getting pushed out now to users. 7.2 has the ability to store files in, I think, HVEC, which will save space and potentially be better quality. Vineet asks, how much do you think Android has improved since the Nexus 4? Oh, radically. Every year it improves. Every year. Like, I like Google's development of Android has improved every year. Apple's development of iOS, it's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Like, it doesn't necessarily get better. Like, it introduces different problems. It may fix certain problems, but it introduces new problems. They add new features without fixing the old ones. And iOS needs, and I don't want to make this about iOS, but iOS needs a radical reboot. A radical reboot. Let's set aside anything else, like a promotion display it needs, or USB-C that it might need, or the lack of a notch. It's iOS is this mixed bag, and I'm good. I'm very happy with how Google makes Android better. A newer Android revision doesn't slow down the device. I also appreciate Google is abstracting certain elements from the operating system update. They're basically carving them out. So instead of waiting for one chunky operating system update, which you may never receive from your OEM or your carrier, they abstract these elements. Project Treble was one such endeavor, and they've had other endeavors to do something similar. And the numbers are showing that it was absolutely a positive change, for sure. So I'm glad they went that route. It was the right way to go. Have I tried to contact Google to make them aware of the issues you run into? Nah, I haven't outright. I know I could file a bug report. The chances of it getting addressed, I don't know. I mean, how do I describe that? And I might, like, if I don't see it getting addressed anytime soon, yeah, I might file a bug report. Like, you're cutting off notifications because of the new corner radius, and the gesture nav is not ready for prime time because of these reasons. It's not. I'm not happy with it. As a software enthusiast, I'm not. I would give the software on the Pixel 3 XL probably a B+. I would give the software experience in terms of that because of the design shortcomings and the lack of authentication in a great many apps, coupled with Google Maps. Not okay. This is another snag that I wanted to talk about. I've got 90 hertz locked in the developer options. It's 90 hertz all the time, baby. I'm happy. But Google Maps is up to their old tricks. Remember when I slagged them years ago for limiting the frame rate on iOS to 15 frames per second? They eventually lifted that restriction, and now Google Maps is smooth on iOS, or certainly smoother than it was before, because then they raised the bar to 60 frames per second. Well, apparently they've got, and it's likely for battery life, but they have a limitation. They have a limiter set on Google Maps such that it is not running at 90 hertz. Not even close. It's running at 60 hertz, so it's a bit choppy. Anything that's running at 60 frames per second. So it's a bit choppy when you're running on a screen that's pushing 90 hertz. So yeah, that's something. Google Maps, I wish I could get to them and say, look, you need to lift this restriction, because it doesn't make for a great experience. I may file the bugs. I might. Should I? You think? Will you upvote them? Google Maps snag. Okay, I've written it down. We'll see. Joe, you may have missed my earlier sentiment. I'm a really bad person to talk to about battery life because I'm always kind of not that far away from a charger. I charge throughout the day. Right now I can do this until 11:15 a.m. and it's 7:49 p.m. the night before. So that's pretty good. I think that's solid, right? But I keep it charged, or I keep it. I'm usually, if I'm sitting down, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll just top it off because I don't know what's going to happen later. Dennis Camacho, what are you coming in with a super chat for? For the shots fired, nicely done. Well, I'm just saying, you gotta. I'm very careful about that. I'm not happy. I'll slag both companies. Give me credit for that. Like, I'm not just like, oh, well, Google did it the right way because they did it this way. No. They did it wrong. It's just that those notifications go away. They're like there and then they're gone, right? So it's not like this permanent fixture. And the gesture nav can also be turned off until it might get tweaked, or maybe it won't. I don't know. That's my fear, is that it won't get tweaked. I like having the background behind the gesture bar, but okay. So the height of the triple nav here. See here. I'm just going to show you. So you've got a height there, right? So it's a certain height, and the gesture nav is even shorter. So you get more pixels, but the problem is that if apps aren't optimized for it, especially when you go into the task switching menu, it just looks really weird. And then when you pull up a dialog, like if I'm in Photos here, and I pull up a dialog like, no, do I? Okay, so here's an example. I'm not going to actually move this to trash, but okay, so what I'm saying is right here, this is a great picture of Jedi too. I think that was posted in Discord. But what I'm saying is that's a clean black line because it starts before the corner radius begins. If you have the gesture nav, it actually goes down and it looks like this particular dialogue gets cut off, and it's weird because it won't have the same corner. It doesn't have the same corner radius as the top part. So that's the way this app implements it. If I go into another app, it's implemented differently. It's like, wow. So the only way to have a cleaner nav bar experience, especially with the corner radius, is to flip back to non-gesture nav bar and just going to the triple button, which some people may be annoyed by. I'm like, I was okay with it. It's like, okay, this works. For me, I'm okay. That's me. I know other people are different. Yes, everyone thinks differently. Did you have any other questions here? Let me check Discord. Making sure you guys saw. Did you guys see the photos in Discord at all? No? Oh, wait, I'm looking at right now. Okay, everybody, head over to the Google Chatter room. I'm going to be, everybody watching live, head over to Google Chatter. Are you liking these photos? I'm typing in Discord right now in the Google Chatter room. So let's just see how many people are watching. Let's see. 2. Okay, there are 2 people watching. That's great. Keep those questions coming. I've now reached the point of the chat where I've got everything caught up to speed. How really is the battery life experience? Man, this is like a thing. I don't know. My phone has not died. I don't know what percentage I'm at. I'm okay. I charge throughout the day. I'm the worst person to ask because I am not a typical use case. I'm not. Like, I sometimes I get to the end of the day and I haven't charged it all that much, and I might have heavy use, like with my other devices. But for the most part, I'm typically around a charger. So I don't know what battery life is. It is. It's not harmful. It's been good. If I need to plug it in, I plug it in. If I traveled more, maybe it would be an issue. But when I travel, I carry external battery packs. So again, it's not an issue. I know. So don't ask me about battery life because I couldn't tell you. It's never really been a thing that I've looked for in a phone. I know. I know everybody else does, but I don't. I'm the only one. I'm the only one who doesn't look for that. All right. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give chat on YouTube and Discord a choice. I've got two figures here. I'm going to do some sample photos, like live, real time. So I've got two of these. I need to take them out of the card. I just got this today. It was half off. The Mimban Stormtrooper, super articulated from VC 123, and VC 163, the Shadow Trooper. So I got a few of these. These are actually out in stores too. These not anymore. These were Walmart exclusives. Kind of tricky to find. Which one should I unbox and take a picture of right here? I'll test a few modes and then upload them to Discord right now during the live video. So which one? I'm giving you a chance. Shadow Trooper hands down. Dennis, okay, you said Shadow Trooper hands down. I don't know, the Mimban Trooper's kind of nice. But the Shadow Trooper, I admit, if I see this on the shelf, I'm grabbing it. Is this one that I can open? Yes, okay, it's a crunched bubble. So, yeah, I'm going to open it. Don't unbox anything from Solo. Dude, don't slag Solo. I loved the Solo movie. I loved it. Loved it. Even before I met Alden Ehrenreich. I thought it was great. You know, if you didn't like it, man, you are pickier than me. Because I thought it was fantastic. So we've got a weapon here. Oh, you can't even see it. It's so dark. It's black right. I do it like, this is like how the makeup girls do it. Or the gurus, I should say. That's, what is this, the E11 blaster here, standard issue. E11, right there. Against my alabaster skin. And then the actual super articulated Shadow Trooper. Okay, so I'm going to take a picture. I'm not, I hope you don't mind. That's how dark it is. A black trooper. Let's see here. Get it to balance a bit. This isn't going to be like for keeps necessarily. I'm going to stand it over here. I am going to place this device here. Hopefully that doesn't fall. You go back in the drawer, buddy. And I'm going to take a picture. First, I've got so many awesome things on my desk. It's not even funny. You get to get opened later. I'm going to take a regular picture here. There we go. So you have to pardon. You guys are gonna get it in the in Discord. There's the regular one. We'll do the regular one first. I'm not gonna worry about centering necessarily, but okay. Then we're gonna do night sight here. So I gotta hold still for a few seconds. I'm not gonna say night sight feels faster. It doesn't. It feels about the same. By the way, we're getting some not cloudy days happening here in Seattle. So hopefully I get to try the astrophotography soon. Okay, so let me go ahead and... Whoa, there's really not much of a difference between night sight and regular. I suppose if you zoom in on the detail, maybe... No, it's about the same. Alright, so now we're going to do it in portrait mode, because I know y'all like portrait mode. I don't. I think it's kind of gimmicky. Let's focus on you. Here. I'm trying to steady it as much as I can. Trying to give you the same shot. Portrait mode. Here we go. All right. So you can see the dust on the desk for sure. Okay. So these are the night sight. The night sight. The night sight Shadow Trooper is definitely a little warmer than the regular shot. The portrait mode has a slightly more bokeh effect in the background, although on its own seemed to be relatively fine. Let's go ahead and post these to Google Chatter. First is going to be the regular one. Second is going to be night sight, and then the third, theoretically, is going to be and I'll update the descriptions here when I'm done. The third is going to be the portrait mode. And honestly, there's not much of a difference. That's weird. In the portrait mode, it's definitely portrait. Weird, isn't it? Portrait mode's on, right? I mean, it works, right? Even the regular photo and the portrait mode photo, there's like no difference. This is weird. Huh. And it looks almost the same. The bokeh looks almost the same as... Hang on. Let me see if I see any artifacts. Yeah, okay, portrait mode worked. I do see an artifact in his shoulder, not the pauldron shoulder. But in this case, I might have gone with... there's some weird other issues that I think DxO brought out, but it could have been... Oh, it may have been a flare from behind. Yeah, it looks like it's a flare from behind. But you'll see it. You'll see him in Discord there. There you go. People wanted me to do it up here again, so I did. I can't show them to you. You got to go over there, they're in the Google Google chatter room. I still need to find an iPhone 11 Pro person here in Seattle. I think we should go out and do a photo walk together. I'm not going to go out and get one just for that, for sure. I mean, I'd never really use it. Or I may end up having to wait until the next iPad Pro comes out that I'd upgrade to, which allegedly will have the same cameras as the iPhone 11 Pro, and then use that. Yeah, I'll be the guy that's taking pictures with the iPad. I will be that guy. In the Shadow Trooper, this amazing little thing. Oh, so happy, so happy. I'm not joking. Like, you were to ask me, hey, Chris, what do you mean you're happy? I'm probably not take away from the value of a smartphone, but I'm happier having this Shadow Trooper than I am any smartphone. Because I like the Shadow Trooper. I like Star Wars figures. Always have. Always will. And the more awesome they look, the happier I am. So I'm going to let everybody go after I check, catch up on any comments. Probably not going to be a Twitch stream tonight. I am a little tired because, as I mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, I'm on Dramamine. I'm surprised I made it through without passing out or wanting to fall asleep. People who don't like solo sleep with strangers. Okay, that's funny, Dennis. Jacob Martin joins me at the very end of the broadcast. Funny. Joe B. asks, am I excited about Mandalorian Star Wars? Yes, I am excited now. After seeing the trailer, I'm excited for The Rise of Skywalker. But I'm probably a little more excited right now for the Mandalorian series. It looks awesome. It absolutely looks awesome. What do I typically do on Twitch? Gaming. Today it was hot lava. I just had the wrong settings. That's how I got motion sickness. But gaming on Twitch. Someone asked if I could do an IRL, and I think Jeff, Dennis, and I might get together for coffee one day here in town and do an IRL on Twitch. I also have my gaming channel on YouTube dedicated to gaming. I will likely be playing Stadia. On there, assuming, again, I don't get motion sick with that. I hope I don't. I'll know really darn quickly. I'm not going to take a Dramamine every time I want to play a game on Stadia, or otherwise Stadia is just going to be a no-go. Unless I figure out I'd have to get a Chromecast and then use it on a TV. I'd hate to get a Chromecast just for that, though. They're not all that expensive. But YouTube didn't notify you of streaming even though you had the bell on. Jacob, do not trust YouTube notifications. It's not your fault. YouTube just doesn't like people. That's the bottom line. If you want to be notified, my recommendation is you head over to Discord. I'm saying it again because what happens is when I have a live stream scheduled, I tag everybody who's here, who's online and active, and then after the video's done, like later tonight, I'm going to be telling everybody, okay, here's the TLDR, it's ready to watch. Everybody who's following the Discord channel would get that notification. So join the Discord channel, join chat, interact. It's not just, to listen to Chris. I mean, a lot of the conversations happen without me, and I'm thrilled. We've got so many different rooms. In fact, I could probably just pull it up here on the iPad. I know you're thinking, iPad, what do you mean? I thought this is, how are you using an Apple product? Well, dude, I got no problem with it. I mean, I use it every day. But I'm not going to zoom in because you can do your own thing, but we got the general cantina, tweet stream, so you can see all the latest tweets I have, live stream to be notified, hey, these are the live videos I'm doing or about to do, or these are the videos that I've just done, vlog stream, so I might post family stuff in here when a Jedi does something or Diana is streaming, a zine stream, so you can be notified when I post the new email newsletter. We've got Typically Talking Tech news updates, Apple Chatter, Google Chatter, Microsoft Chatter, Linux Chatter, not a lot of Linux action, I'm not sure if I'm going to be archiving that, Geek Culture, Star Wars Radar, Retro Fun, Dad Jokes, which is popular, Entertainment Chatter, which just got a new message. You're Not a Monster, new show by Kelsey Grammer. Oh, I'm waiting for the Frasier sequel. I really want them to do it so badly. Oh, man. I'm in. Oh, I love Frasier. I watch a rerun any day of the week. I did back when I fell asleep to it. Now I just don't have any time as Jedi's older. We've got video game chatter. We've also got free game deals as I find them, or they're fed in by an RSS feed. So there's a lot going on in the Discord server. It's not just for me posting sample photos from a phone. And by the way, feel free to use it for. I mean, this is like, if you want to show off your stuff, this is where I may not want to hear it. Maybe the rest of you do. This is the place for it. So instead of, throwing it into comments, if you're looking for that community feel, Discord's where it's at. Easy to use. You don't need to install anything. You can run it from a web browser if you want, but of course there are apps certainly available. Discord. It's where it's at. Okay, do I have any other comments before I wind down? Am I upset that I can't binge watch the new Star Wars show? No. I'm okay with that. I like waiting. Gives me a chance to react to him differently, right? Is Discord in the description? Yep, right at the top. Or just go live.pirillo.com, because that redirects. So just go over to live.pirillo.com. Still there. You need to buy a Chromecast too? Yeah, I haven't bought it yet. Post the link here? Okay. There it is. Okay, I posted the link there in the actual chat. You can tap it, click it, or whatever. I think that's it. I think that's everything. I don't have anything else to say. That's everything I wanted to cover. Good. I gotta unbox a Star Wars figure. Now I'm gonna go close my eyes and possibly fall asleep. Thank you everybody for joining. I do appreciate it, and of course I'll be back tomorrow with TLDR, likely without Dramamine, potentially covering a range of topics of like what I think reviewers are not getting right and what they are getting right. So stay tuned for that. And I will likely also have, maybe a full-on review after I've had it for longer than a day, maybe a month from now. So again, you can stay tuned for that. Let me go ahead and get as I mentioned, the show notes. Hide checkboxes. I gotta wait. Okay. I'm going to get the notes over to everybody. I'll post those in the description as well for basically what went on in this particular broadcast. Thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. And at this point, I'm going to leave you to your own devices. Thanks again for the super chats. And thank you to the 2 new members of the channel, Juan S. and Brian M. May the Force be with you. Always.